I don't want to play games. That's what everyone says. Everybody says they're sick and tired of games and they don't want to play them and they want something real and they want something authentic. And yet we all continue to do it. If you look at dating and you look at how often you resist your most authentic impulses in the attempt to get someone to like you, you'll see how ingrained this game playing is in the dating world. And in this video, I want to address that. And I'm going to talk about why it never works and how our attempts to find love through these games are the very thing that drives it away and prevents us from ever having it. We engage in these games and manipulations in thinking that it doesn't really cost us anything, but what we don't realize is that they cost us the most. They actually drive authentic love out of our life. And like I said before, if you look at how often we resist our most authentic impulses, like I want to call, but I'm not going to because I don't want them to know I'm thinking about them. Or I want to see them and I'm thinking about them, but I won't reach out. Or I'm really, really excited to be with them, but I'm going to act like I'm not. And you see how much our most authentic, the most natural thing that would come through if we just allowed it to, and how much it's resisted and how much pretending is taking place. And if you can really see that, then you see how much this game playing is interwoven into all of our dating and all of our relationships. And I mean, even outside of dating, but we're talking about dating right now. But you see how it's all interwoven in. And this does not work. We shut down constantly the most authentic, the most real, the most vulnerable aspects of ourselves, the most true aspects of ourselves. We shut them down constantly because we're ashamed of them, because we're afraid they'll be rejected, because we see them as weak or we see ourselves as weak because of them, and we try to hide them from people. But this is what happens when we do that, and this is why playing games will never, ever really work out. When we do that, we close off those things that the right person is going to fall in love with. And you see, this is what we don't realize. Those quirky, authentic impulses that we do when we're alone and nobody's watching and we think we're ridiculous and even judge ourselves for it. Those are the very things that when you let that out with the right person, that person is going to fall in love with you because of those things. And the truth is most people won't. Most people will see that and they'll think you're weird, but you're not trying to find most people. You're trying to find the one that you're meant to be with, the one who's going to love you for who you authentically are. So when you shut down those impulses, the person who might have fallen in love with them doesn't have the opportunity to see them. And you exchange those most authentic and most real aspects of who you are to impress somebody that it's not even really a good fit to begin with. And this is what we see in relationships, is we see two people who are pretending to be somebody they're not, who are withholding those most authentic aspects of themselves, and they're attracted to each other on really surface levels because of how they look or because they have a great conversation or because they share mutual interests. And so they're attracted on these surface levels, but they're withholding the deepest parts of themselves, and then they get into a relationship based on these surface levels. But then as the more authentic stuff starts to come out, they start to resist each other. They start to build resentment against each other. They start to think, you're not who I thought you were. And the reason is because they were putting on a show to attract each other to begin with. So when you play these games, you're going to wind up with two things are going to happen. One, you're going to find people who play into those games, and your relationship is going to become a game. And it's going to become a strategy, and it's going to become a power play. And it's going to be about who has the upper hand, who can control the relationship, who has the most power. And there's going to be this constant power struggle because the relationship was founded on a game. And it can only stay interesting for you as long as the game continues. And as soon as the game gets too painful or you can't maintain that power anymore, the relationship falls apart. But the other thing that's going to happen when you play games in dating is you're going to find people who won't play into those games. And they're going to see it as a game, and they're going to not feel good about it, and they're going to not like it. And you're actually going to drive those people away. Those people are going to lose interest, and those are the people who are actually looking for something authentic. Those are the people who are actually looking for something real. So you say, well, I'm not going to call for 3 days, or I'm going to wait and not respond to this text right away because I don't want them to think I'm too interested. And they're sitting there going, I really like this person, but they're not responding to my texts for hours, and I just don't know if I want to deal with this. And this is actually somebody that you could have had an authentic relationship with, and your game playing drove them away. And you ended up attracting into your life somebody who wanted to play into those games. And so you see how you just repeat these game manipulative power play relationships over and over and over again as long as you play those games. The only way to find love really is to risk. And love is a huge risk because we all know that when you open your heart, you give somebody the opportunity to rip it out. And love is a huge risk, and most of us are afraid to take that risk. Most of us only want to take that risk when we know it will be absolutely safe, which is never. So we never really fall in love. We have attractions, we have infatuations, but we never really fall in love with someone in the deepest ways. We never really trust people in the deepest ways. And I've coached people who've been married for 20 years and they've never really trusted each other. It's not about how long you're together. It's about the quality of the relationship. And the only way to find love is to risk for it. The only way to find love is to put yourself out there and open yourself up to rejection, to let people know what you really want, to let people know where you really stand, to be honest, to be authentic, to show those embarrassing, weird, interesting things that uniquely make you you. And allow somebody to experience all those parts of yourself. Allow somebody to see the honest, real you. And when they see that, they will either fall for it or they won't. But you don't need to be worried about what they do with it. Let them do what they will with it. Let them accept it. Let them reject it. Let them do what they will with it. Because you're only interested in somebody who sees that and says, yes, this is the person I've been looking for. And when you get the courage, when you create the courage to be that authentic person out there in dating and out there in the world, you are going to draw that perfect person to you. And that's when you find true love. And if you like this idea that I'm talking about, we're hosting a workshop right now. You can check it out at the link in our bio or go to myconsciousrelationship.com. And in this workshop, we're exploring this idea about authentic dating and conscious dating. And we're talking about some of the fundamental principles of conscious dating and creating true love in a modern dating scene. And you can register for that workshop at myconsciousrelationship.com. It's absolutely free, so I hope you take advantage of that opportunity. And thanks for watching today.